The Sun is unquestionably the most powerful celestial body in our galaxy. We owe our very development on Earth to the steady flow of energy from our host star. The other members of our planetary system have also always been shaped by their spatial positions in relation to the Sun. Some enigmatic formations in close proximity to the Sun that are identifiable in NASA images repeatedly spark wild speculation. The topic of this video is these objects spotted in the vicinity of the Sun and the absurd conclusions that proponents of alien theories make about them. If you enjoy our channel's content, please give us a thumbs up. Then, let's move on to the mysterious spectacles on the Sun that are currently keeping the world in suspense. If you enjoy amazing phenomena discoveries and mysteries of the universe, subscribe to Simply Space to ensure that you never miss any of our posts in the future. Enigmatic objects close to the Sun. Although it sounds like a thrilling scene from a science fiction film set in the future, certain visitors to the Space Observatory in Soho have reported seeing unidentified flying objects departing the Sun and traveling towards the cosmos' boundless reaches on multiple occasions. Alien enthusiasts are convinced that the photos taken by Soho provide evidence for the existence of intelligent life forms believed to be actually residing in the Sun. UFOs are said to originate directly from the interior of the glowing star and travel throughout the solar system. However, the objects in the images taken by the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory vary significantly depending on the time of recording. For instance, in some of the images, the alleged flying saucers appear as bright, relatively large balls of light with a long tail. This unbelievable thesis drives still more offshoot theories. Specifically, the conspiracy theorists believe that the constitution of the Sun is completely different than reported by renowned scientists at the end of this line of abstract reasoning. Is the hollow sun theory, the far-fetched hollow sun theory, unbelievable? But true advocates of this thesis are firmly convinced that the Sun is in fact a hollow celestial body, as if this assumption were not already ludicrous enough. The hollow sun theory also pursues the approach that within the Sun is a distinct planetary system. This is supposed to be the home of the most diverse, intelligent life forms, hiding themselves most successfully before our terrestrial gaze. Furthermore, a gigantic gate is said to be on the exterior of the Sun, through which the aliens can sweep in and out at will. If one follows this crude theory, the extraterrestrial inhabitants of the glowing fireball are also fully aware of the existence of mankind. In fact, the unknown life forms are said to leave cryptic messages on the surface of the Sun on a regular basis in order to get in contact with our Earthlings at any rate. This is the line of reasoning advanced by ufologist Scott C. Waring. This creative powerhouse claims to have identified a mysterious symbol in the NASA photo of the Sun that adorns the exterior of the dwarf star and claims it was created with purpose. In a photo taken by Soho, we can see the number 2 on the Sun's surface. But why should the aliens have chosen to use a number to communicate with humanity? According to Waring, it is a spiritual symbol with a deep meaning. 2 stands for love, harmony, and consideration. Wearing this symbolism acknowledges the aliens' request that humanity have faith in the natural energies that flow through the universe. With a sobering conclusion, experts argue that the figure on the Sun's surface is not a spiritual alien message at all, but rather a stream of constantly moving gases known as convection. According to the scientific community, the corresponding convection cells can grow thousands of miles long and take on the most varied forms. The fact that the right formations change their structural makeup every few minutes is another factor that contradicts the idea of alien intelligence. On our home planet, we can see a similar phenomenon in a modified form. For example, the Sun's convection movements resemble the patterns we see when we observe the bubbles in a pot of boiling water. If the aliens had timed their message to humanity perfectly, Soho would have been taking pictures of the Sun. However, why do we humans recognize a deeper meaning in some natural structures that seem to be non-existent? Science has an answer to this question as well. Pareidolia is the term used by experts to describe the phenomenon of identifying familiar patterns such as letters, numbers, or faces in natural structures or objects. For example, the famous image of what appears to be a human face on the surface of Mars is a result of some distinctive shadow gradients that give the impression that the famous red planet is actually adorned by a face. In this interpretation, we have all laid in a meadow in the summer and allowed our eyes to wander to the clouds. It seldom takes long to identify recognizable patterns in the sky's vapor formations. But why do humans frequently identify recognizable designs in natural structures? Every time we look at our surroundings, there is a subconscious anticipation that we would be able to categorize what we see into a familiar context, since our thinking machinery tends to organize the world around us into familiar patterns. This is where the answer to this question lies. Due to subconscious expectations to visualize this phenomenon, multiple persons may view the illusions that ultimately arise from our brain's misinterpretations simultaneously. We can look at the stone head in Markawasi once more. On the right side of the structure, we can see the silhouette of a human skull with a nose, mouth, and chin, but we unconsciously ignore the other shapes that actually make up the majority of the rock. Our brain searches for familiar, classifiable forms while also fading out the parts that we are unable to assign to any known pattern. Explanations for the reported sightings of UFOs. The answer to the purported puzzle of what the mysterious objects near the sun are will probably bring a great deal of disillusionment among those who subscribe to speculative notions. According to NASA, based on the photos, the gleaming bright objects that appear to fly from the sun into the universe are most likely comets or ordinary asteroids. It appears as if the starting point of the galactic bodies is the sun's surface. However, this does not correspond to the actual trajectory of the respective objects. Specifically, the perspective of the photographs makes an optical illusion that arouses the impression in us that the corresponding formations start directly from the sun. And how about the darker objects that we can recognize on other pictures from the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory? Here too, researchers at the renowned space agencies have plausible explanations ready the background. However, isn't the natural structure of the sun, or a misleading perspective rather, the galactic devil hides here in the technical detail? The small dark spots on the photos are simply faulty image artifacts resulting from simple data failures. In fact, these small technical quirks occur relatively often in the SOHO. Small blocks of information are lost in the course of data transmission between the space observatory and the terrestrial research facilities, in view of the fact that the highly complex technical equipment is located almost 1 million miles away from our blue home planet. Although SOHO is actually intended to conduct a number of scientific experiments that will yield important information about the sun, this situation seems understandable, given that since the mission's launch in 1995, space researchers have gained many important insights into the natural makeup of our host star. During its mission, the unmanned spacecraft has already successfully detected 4,000 comets that were previously unknown. According to current plans, the spacecraft will remain in operation until roughly 2025. How do you feel about the purported UFOs near the sun? We are eager to read your thoughts. Please share your thoughts and opinions about today's video in the comments section below. To access more intriguing topics about space, click on one of the images in the credits. Thank you for watching, be careful, and we'll see you soon.